Good morning, everyone. I've got the nerve to be calling scientists out, and I've yet to take the time to figure out this like and subscribe button to place it there at the end of my video. So I'm gonna try to do it this time. But in the meanwhile, if I don't, like and subscribe if you like the video. So let's get right to it. A person who doesn't know the history of science, one can expect them to be an atheist as well as lacking the intellect to be a scientist. There are no other excuses. A person with the acumen to be a scientist does not close the door of possibilities. Let me repeat that. A person with the acumen to be a scientist does not close the door of possibilities. He allows those doors to close themselves or look other places for keys. Now, what closes the doors of possibilities? Physical evidence closes the doors of possibilities. And as long as you do not have physical evidence, those doors must remain open, and you must search for the keys elsewhere. Is this logical to you? The question's rhetorical. How many so-called men of science mocked Einstein? This question is worth repeating. How many so-called men of science who called themselves scientists mocked Einstein? How many so-called men of science laughed at Tesla and then stole his inventions that he left for humanity? Let me rephrase that question. How many laughed at Tesla and stole the inventions he left for the public and later called themselves inventors? Such is the arrogance of thieves and opportunists who would call themselves scientists. Hermetic philosophy states God is infinite living mind and conscious of self. Can science prove it not so? Let me ask that question again. Can science prove it not so? The question was rhetorical. Has the 7 Hermetic principles been proven true? I would answer yes. However, the first principle of mentalism has been proven partially true. Now, if God does exist, as we theorize, one would have to conclude that God is as superior to man as man is to an ant. Would you agree? The question is, of course, rhetorical. So, what right do we have to deny the existence of God when just having faith in God has allowed people to move metaphorical mountains? When faith in God has allowed people to move metaphorical mountains, how can you deny the existence of God? Can you deny the existence of God without physical evidence that God does not exist? The question is, of course, rhetorical. If you are going to try to answer the question, you have a mental handicap, and you definitely have no reason to be in the realms of scientific investigation. Now, let's get down to what I call the nitty-gritty. Does God exist? The answer is yes. Can it be proven scientifically? Not at this time. Will it ever be able to be proven scientifically? Depends on whether or not God decides it can be proven scientifically. Does God have to prove anything to you? I would say no. Does God care or concern itself with what you think? Again, I would have to say no, maybe, or just admit what I don't know. I don't know what God thinks. If you are an atheist, I would assume that you do not know what God thinks because you say God does not exist. However, people oftentimes say God does not exist because God did not do this and God did not do that. To make such a statement puts you above God. Do you see the logic in that? The science of science proves that one cannot close the door of possibilities. Remember Einstein and Tesla. They proved that. Science is a study of the unknown. Science is supposed to go from the known to the unknown. Unknown meaning you do not know. But truth, the foundation of science, builds upon itself the same way mathematics does. We went from addition to calculus to math analysis. Would you agree that from addition we went to the unknown? Don't answer. The question is rhetorical. Humanity does not know everything that can't be proven physically. Is there a metaphysical world? Yes, there is. But a metaphysical world is only a metaphysical world when we do not have the intelligence to recognize it as the physical world. Would you agree? The question is also rhetorical. If we theorize that God exists, and we have no choice but to theorize that God exists, because we cannot deny possibilities, we would have to say that God knows more about us and itself than we know. That would be a logical conclusion. Would you agree? The question is rhetorical. The question is rhetorical because this is a logical reality that does not need scientific verification because it is common sense to all those who believe in truth. It is common sense. If the things that I have said are true, then one would have to conclude that so-called scientific atheists need to harness their know-it-all ignorance. Let me repeat that. Scientific atheists, or atheists who consider themselves scientists, need to harness their know-it-all ignorance. Atheists with no knowledge of science, I expect this. 9-to-5 men who concern themselves with survival, I expect this. But even the intelligent of those will have faith in God when they are faced with an obstacle. You don't throw common sense out with the dirty water. Or should I say, you don't throw the baby out with the dirty water, with common sense being the baby. When in a desperate position, you go for all you know. People have, as I've stated before, moved metaphorical mountains with faith in God. Does that prove God exists? Well, it certainly does not prove God does not exist. Would you agree? The question is rhetorical. An intelligent scientist would have to be an agnostic and admit what he does not know, therefore leaving the doors to possibilities open so that he may step through them. Do you think this makes more sense than locking the door? God bless all and have a nice day.